Here's the last one, and we'll be done. God uses painful problems and trials to grow us or nurture us. And that's back to James 1, where it says, and I've got to get back there with you, he says in James 1, verse 4, let endurance have its perfect result, that you may be mature and complete, lacking in nothing. God wants to grow me and you through painful problems. Pain is God's path to maturity. A woman wrote a book recently called Grace Grows Best in Winter. It's a good title. You see, it's possible to grow or nurture spiritually and emotionally during bright and healthy and cheery and sunny days of summer when everything's going great and life's fantastic. You can grow in nurture in that, but you grow or nurture far faster and far deeper in the dark phases of life. You grow and nurture far deeper and far greater in the valleys than in the mountaintops. It's just the way that we're made. I mean, if I went back, and by the way, I have this habit, I keep all these letters. In fact, I just got one from someone, and they used to attend here, and they moved off, and they wrote me this letter. It was so sweet, and they said, July 6th marked a great milestone in my life. And I thought, well, did they have a baby? Did they get married? What happened? And they just went on and on. They talked about this great milestone in their life. And it concluded with this. They said, I am X number of decades old, and I just read the Bible for the first time all the way through. And they said, if you hadn't challenged me, and if you hadn't asked us, I would have gone through all my life without reading the whole Bible through once. I keep stacks of letters like that. Let me read you a few of them. Pastor, I've had the toughest time in my life, but I have to say, I've grown or nurtured more through separation than any other time in my life. Now, that's not usually a highlight in your life if you have a separation in your marriage. Some people have grown. They've seen their selfishness. Others have said, I've grown or nurtured more through my time of unemployment than any other time in my life, because when I had everything at my fingertips and I could buy and wheel around and do whatever I wanted, I didn't need God. I've grown or nurtured more through the loss of a loved one than any other time in my life. I've grown through this illness. I've grown through this crisis. I've grown more through this loneliness than any other time. Why? Because of verse 4 of James 1. Listen. Grace grows us and nurtures us best in the winter. And God uses painful problems and trials to nurture us. Here's what Ken Taylor wrote on James 1:4. When the way is rough, your patience has a chance to grow. So let it grow. And don't squirm out of your problems. Then you'll be ready for anything, and you'll be strong in character, full and complete. Well, if I was to summarize the whole message this morning, I'd say this. The very thing that discourages you most is probably what God wants to use to grow you the most. It's not an accident. James 1:4 says, don't try to get out of things prematurely. Let God do His work so that you can mature and become well developed. The best known part of the Bible is probably the Psalms. Most of them were written by a man who faced more pain than we can conceive of. David was rejected by his family. He was unloved by his father. Remember his dad had all the boys in? He didn't ask David to come in. And Samuel says, where are your sons? He says, here are my sons. I love them. I'm so proud of them. Which one do you want? And Samuel looked them all over and he said, they're not all here. He goes, oh, yeah, he's out there. Can you imagine growing up knowing your dad didn't even think you were important enough to invite you in when someone came? And David was unloved by his father. He wouldn't even invite him in for family times. He was left alone for long periods by his family doing the chores. He was ignored even when great things happened in his life. Yet out of those events and even more difficult and trying times comes the Psalms. I think Paul was talking about this when he said in 1 Corinthians 1:9, this happened so we could learn to trust not ourselves, but in God. You see, you really don't know that Jesus Christ is all you need until Jesus Christ is all you have. Then you know you need Him. And that's what God wants to do.